This is, once again, Imperial Propaganda. My name is Glenn.
And my name is Max.
And we are here with another one of our summer crash test. So we are checking out the summer tournament maps. And today, specifically, we are looking at the Ord Mantell Junkyard, which I believe comes with, the IG-88 Assassin droid expansion. And we're doing Scenario A, Mind of Its Own. So this one is a long, thin map. And the basic objective here is, or I should say that the things that happen is, if you look at this token right here in the bottom right, that is a big old laser beam. At the start of round, any figures that are on that are on the same line that it is on, so left to right, then all those figures are defeated, as well as any figures that are south of it, so basically down from it. Defeated immediately, so go to 0 health, go off the board, dead. And it ignores walls and terrain, it just shoots them and they die. And then at the end of each round, anybody who's controlling a terminal, which you can see, there's one right there, and there is one right there. Anybody controlling behind that crate, anybody controlling one of these two terminals will get 5 victory points. Of course, on top of the normal drawing of cards. So, crazy scenario, Max. What do you think?
Really is interesting to me. I think it's one of the most kind of thematic skirmish maps that I've seen played.
Yeah.
It kind of really speaks to me as kind of the resident campaign player here, where there's some really fun things going on. Kind of like when Mac takes over an ATST. If you haven't gotten there yet, sorry, spoiler.
Oh no.
But there's just some really cool things that happen in the campaign game, and this brings that into the skirmish game for me, where there's kind of a giant laser just rushing across the field, ready to kill anybody and everybody.
Well, let's go ahead and let's start it. This is, by the way, myself. I'm over there on the left. And then Jorgen, who you may remember as a commentator last time, he is on our right. And so Jorgen is deploying first. Jorgen, his army is Luke, Gideon, Fenn, and then he's got 2 rebel troopers.
Yeah,
the elite rebel troopers. Specifically.
This reminds me a lot of a list that Cheryl played against me in the regionals. Right? It's the same list.
Did she run it at regionals? At one of the regionals?
I think so.
She must have.
It was a really fun game for me. And it really kind of opened my eyes a little bit to the Rebel Troopers as being something cool. So I can't remember specifically why Jorgen wanted to run this. I think I was like, hey, you should run Rebels. I think because the last match that he and I played, he was running Imperials, and I was like, hey, let's mix it up. You're like secretly a Rebels fan in your heart. You should run Rebels today. And I think he wanted initially to run I think he initially wanted to run Saboteurs, but he does not now, obviously. Sure. Yeah, I mean, as the resident Rebel lover of all time, regardless of whether I'm playing Imperial Assault or X-Wing or buying a lightsaber or whatever, I appreciate that choice, because why not? Not to mention, I don't know if it's been mentioned before, but Jorgen's custom Luke in Stormtrooper armor is something special, So
yes, if you haven't seen it, I did post it to our website, to our fancy new website. It's on there on the Mon Calamari post. So the Saboteur Mon Calamari conversion, that's posted to our website, imperialassault.com. You can check that out, and you can also check out his mod his conversion for his Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Can you give me a rundown of your list that you're running?
Sure. So my list is similar to the one I ran in our last play. I'm still goofing around with these two royals. So these two elite royal guards, and then I have 3 Imperial officers. And then also in the equation, I have this. This is the change. This is because I'm always trying to figure out what this last bit of points is. It is an elite Stormtroopers. So I've got the elite Stormtroopers. You can see them deployed there, kind of all the way in the far edge of my deployment zone. And you can see Jorgen is moving. He is getting into position. Which is a cool ability for those rebel troopers, to be able to basically move forward and focus themselves.
Can you tell me about his tokens? I just noticed that he has some awesome wooden tokens.
Yeah. So Jorgen is the best. He had some custom wooden tokens made, which always makes me feel like I won't not. This is going to be a little bit spoilers for Clone Wars. But the Wookiee who has a wooden-handled lightsaber.
Sure. Yeah. Good.
I don't feel like that's too spoilery, but
no. I mean, if you haven't finished watching Clone Wars yet, you are 1, way behind, and 2, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Well, and it's on Netflix at this point. I feel like you should be able to watch that, right? I mean, that's fair.
I agree.
Also, you should watch it because it's good. Let me say this: when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's so boring.
Yeah, but the good news is when that's happening, you can probably play a game on your phone or whatever at the same time.
That's true.
So now that we have some things going on here,
yeah. So Gideon, it looks like Gideon just played.
Let's talk about it.
So
let's talk about the game that's going on.
How about it?
First, it doesn't look like with this map there's a door for your side. Is that right?
No. Yeah. So open corridor on the western side of the map, if you will. But there is a door on the rebel side in this case. There's also impassable terrain in between, so there's basically it's a big donut, if you will, or a big collapsed donut or something. You can't get through that wall; it's impassable wall. So,
I just want to say I really liked Gideon's first turn here. It looks like it went right in the way he needed it to. He drew some command cards with a command card and then opened the door, which really, I mean, other than focusing, that's all Gideon's going to do here. And by opening that door, it looks like he's ready to just basically take out the guys that you are moving, right? Like he's going to attack with Luke most likely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would be a good move. I mean, Luke and probably some of those rebel troopers. And Fenn is there too, who's brutal. Who's brutal with
Fenn
them.
is someone who I think is ignored a lot in the skirmish because he is a lot of points.
Yes.
But at the same time, he can do some real damage.
Yeah.
He's one of the few non-elite 3 dice characters. And he gets a chance to attack twice.
Well, and his dice are amazing. Like his dice, I think are, if I remember correctly, I know it's red. I think it's red, blue, and green.
Yep, that's right.
And so that is, I mean, that's a very, very strong attack, especially for a ranged attack. Like that's a really strong ranged attack. So
yeah. Yeah, because it's got range, it's got damage output.
Yeah.
It does a pretty good job at creating surges.
Yes.
All it's just really good. And here we go.
Well, and he can attack twice, which is the other thing. That's the other thing about him. He has assault, which means he can attack twice in a turn if you can get him in a good position.
Right. So theoretically, right here, he could take out an elite. What are they called right now? My brain is
Guards.
suddenly. Oh, that's what they are. Royal Guards. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like something that can really go well for him if he can manage to just take him out. Now, actually, I have a question for you. I don't know how long ago you guys played this game.
I think this was a week and a half ago. So we are playing with the past play rule. Is that what you were going to ask?
So were you guys playing with the new rules?
Yes. So part of playing with these new maps was we really wanted to test out.
That's exactly what I was going to ask, because he did activate his Rebel Troopers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think at one point he says it, well, and we'll see, but I think he basically says, why didn't I pass, or something like that. But I think I mean, we both acknowledge that pass play is an option at this point, so, and I think well, I mean, obviously spoilers, but, you know, I think he does it at some point, so.
Right, spoilers.
Yeah.
Such a big spoiler. That's great. I'm excited to see that rule change. Yeah. Especially as a Rebel player.
Sure.
Because I know a little while ago we talked about the enjoyment of playing a list that would include something like, I don't know, Luke, Han, and Chewie, just the three of them. And, you know, maybe it won't win, but at least I'll kind of be able to stand a chance now. Yeah. Because, you know, if you just wait for some guys to move, those three can attack pretty hard once you get them into position. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and who knows? That, I mean, I don't know if it's those three characters, but that could be a strategy, or some version of that could be a strategy at some point. I mean, obviously, Royal Guard and Vader, we have seen it, at least in our local meta, be very successful. And so, you know, who knows? That could be a similar Rebel list, or Merc list for that matter, at some point, so. So I play Element of Surprise here, basically taking away his die. So
do you know who you were attacking? One of the Rebel Troopers.
Yeah, and so it looks like it one-shotted him.
Yeah.
That card can be really brutal. I mean, dice in general are not super kind in this game, but that card in general is just brutal sometimes.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned in the few skirmish experiences that I have had is that you really have to expect to be taking all of the damage.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically it. Yeah.
You don't get a chance to block. Like sometimes if you have a white die in tow, you'll just get that lucky X-Man and that'll be that. Yeah. But for the most part, you're just taking everything whenever anyone attacks. And in turn, giving everything when you attack. And it's definitely interesting, especially coming from a game like X-Wing where, hits are more common than evades to block, but it's definitely a much higher output of damage in this game comparatively.
Yeah. So he's figuring out what he's going to do. Looks like he's going to move Fenn. It's tough. I wonder if he wishes he could have moved.
One of the things that I think Gideon might have been a better play on turn one so that's what I was just going to say, yeah. So instead of playing that command card to draw additional cards, maybe it would have made sense to open the door and move Fenn.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge there is that then you're putting him into a position to potentially be attacked, and he isn't the best defender. He doesn't have a huge amount of health, but attacking twice is a big deal.
Well, and one of the things that Jorgen and I, when we debriefed this map afterwards, that we really talked about is that door is actually really critical for whomever is on the eastern side of the map. Because it's unlikely that your opponent will probably, especially on the first or maybe even second turn, open that door for you. So it's, I mean, that is a really interesting barrier right off the bat. The eastern player could really kind of try and hold down that crate that's at the top there, or the terminal that's at the top there, rather. And it would be really interesting to see something like that happen. He chose to go straight for the door, which of course makes sense, but I don't know that that's always going to be the smartest move on this map.
Sure, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if, the fact that you set up your guards on the south side and your stormtroopers on the north side kind of went into that decision-making process of saying, you know what, I need to start this assault sooner than later, and opened it up for that reason.
Yeah.
Let me ask another question for you, especially since you're the one playing the guards.
So I managed to land 4 damage and a stun on this one, which is brutal,
Ouch.
but also not enough to kill him, which is super annoying. I think anybody knows that feeling, but...
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying...
No, it's fine. I just wanted to know how you feel about just the matchup in general. Obviously, you know the outcome, and I don't.
Yeah.
But in this case, I wonder if without Rebel Saboteurs in tow, you just have an advantage because of the defensive capabilities of those guards.
For sure. I think I would say, especially knowing what I do now. Well, let me take a step back. Let me see if I can pretend that I don't know what happens. I think with those Rebel troopers, you really need to stay out of the way of the actual Royal Guards. I mean, being within, even within reach of them, is going to be a bad move. So I think with those rebels, I think the real key in this situation, or with the Rebel troopers, is being able to stay within range of Luke, and getting that reroll, doing what you can to really try and attack first thing on the round, which is a different strategy than if you were using, say, the Stormtroopers, who really try and shoot together. The Rebel troopers really try and shoot at the beginning of the round because they get an attack bonus if they do. So,
right.
I think it can work. There's just you have to do a lot of run and gun, and you have to really stay away. I think away from the Royals. So.
Was that a one-shot kill on the Stormtrooper?
I don't know. Let's see. It looks like I'm setting out damage. Yeah, it looks like he ended up putting
Not
2
quite.
damage on him.
Okay.
He's running Luke by himself, which doesn't necessarily seem like the wisest choice. He looks like he was trying to go for a one-shot kill with the Saber Strike, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be the smartest move on his part, especially not sitting next to that terminal, because it looks like he's not adjacent to that terminal, which would be super annoying if he did that.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he has the Son of Skywalker card in hand, and he has not, like, maybe that's why he's stayed where he was. But you're definitely right. I think that he ended up in a tough spot with that move. Now that we're seeing kind of how this is playing out in retrospect, I think that you're right about the door. Kind of, if he had kept that door closed and come around the top side, he would be in a better spot using Luke's ability along with Fenn's ability and the Rebel Troopers.
Yeah, kind of bottlenecking a lot of those guys in a good way.
Right, yeah.
Very like Sparta situation there.
You know, it's interesting to me that now that I'm seeing how this map is playing out, to see that it's pretty unlikely for that laser to even actually do anything.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
because everything is happening up toward the top end. Everyone's going to be moving that direction, and I guess, you know, it'll keep people that tend to try to stay away a little bit more confined.
Yeah. But I will say that, I mean, obviously I'm terrified of that laser beam. Like, I'm mortified of getting hit by that laser beam. So that's end of the first round. We have all depleted our activations. We are resetting this round.
And so at this point, it looks like Jorgen has done 2 damage to 3 different characters.
Yes.
And you have taken out one of his troopers and nothing else.
It may be 2. I've taken out 2 of his Rebel troopers in one group.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So actually, now that we're at the start of the round, this laser is going to move and kill your officer.
Yes, he is. Now it is worth pointing out I did get 10 points because I'm controlling both of the deals.
But he does take out my yellow officer, which is, I was not expecting that, and it was
good. Okay.
it was terrifying. And also to have, I mean, I knew that my royal was fine, but also it was still scary to have the laser beam that close. I do think, so getting back to your point about the laser beam, I do think it's really interesting because I do think there is going to be a lot of, there are going to be people who are more daring, especially who are on the western side of the map, who are going to really try and get that terminal right off the bat. Like, that was my goal in a sense was, hey, I think I can get 5 points out of this once, maybe twice. That would put me in a better position than if I were to not, basically. So that was kind of my intention. I don't know that going for that right off the bat is going to be the best solution. In fact, if you're if you're on the eastern side, if you're on the eastern side, if you do set up on that side, it may be a better situation to try and turtle in that top northern portion near that crate and let your opponent come to you. I mean, it's not necessarily the best every time, but, you know, at some point, the laser beam is going to come across and make the other player move. So you might be better off kind of holding up in the north. I don't know.
Sure. It looks like you're playing 2 command cards. One is exposed weakness.
Yeah, and one's to the limit. To
the limit.
So I don't know. I mean, I used to the limit so I could land, I think, a move and an attack was the situation there.
Right, that makes sense.
Expose, to the limit, expose weakness, and move, and attack. Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah. So you're basically giving yourself pierce, giving yourself an extra action, and then becoming stunned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and it looks like I end up playing pummel with the other guy. This is brutal. Poor Fenn over there.
Yeah, this is a great example of how Fenn can just take a heck of a lot and die, you know?
It looks like Fenn goes. Gives me another 9, so I think I'm up to 19 points. I believe that's, you can see it, I'm putting up the score now, so I believe that's 19 points, though.
Great. Your opponent did get 2 points for the Imperial Officer dying, however?
Yes.
Great.
So I think Jorgen is sitting on 2 points right now.
That sounds right to me. Wow. So far, this is looking a little bit lopsided to me, but Luke has done crazier things.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be an elementary conversation that I'm going to bring up. But I want to talk about Luke Skywalker a little bit.
Okay.
If that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So, I love Luke Skywalker, the card.
Okay.
I'm still working through when to Saber Strike and when not to. So, the free Pierce 3 is great.
Sure.
But against these Stormtroopers is that you're not going to be able to do 5 damage in one shot.
So
with 3 dice, you might be able to.
So he's doing telekinetic throw, which basically throws 2 blue dice at me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that. I will say that I feel like Luke's Saber Strike should be, in most cases, more defensive than offensive. I admit, obviously, I mostly play Imperials. Unlike you, I play Imperials in everything. So even when they're terrible, I tend to play them. So.
I just think, like, the times that I've played with Luke, the Saber Strike has really been relegated to when I'm attacking a Royal Guard or Darth Vader, basically. Like, making sure that I can get through their defenses that are guaranteed to them.
Sure.
But when someone's, when they're rolling a single black, I just feel like, yeah, the Pierce is great, but on a red and yellow, you're probably going to average 2 or 3 damage, and it's just not going to do anything against a Stormtrooper.
I mean, the one thing that I would say, I think Luke's I think Luke's major ability is giving that reroll.
Oh, of course, of course.
Okay, yeah. I mean, to me,
No question.
To me, that's the bigger portion of what Luke does is gives you that
Right.
option to reroll.
And in this game, that's not something that's being utilized heavily enough.
I don't know. I see a lot of the saboteur lists that use it.
Sorry, I didn't mean this game as in Imperial Assault.
Yes,
I meant the game
I'm
that we
sorry.
were watching. Did Luke just die? He flipped the card.
It looks like it. I think I try and be polite when someone's piece comes off the board.
Yeah, you don't want to hand it to them.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. There it goes.
There we
Okay,
go.
yep, Luke
Yeah.
does come off the board.
So I think you're right with Luke. Luke's main objective is to hand out rerolls.
Yes.
Secondarily, as part of what I was saying before, when he does a saber strike, his ability to recover is effectively nullified as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you still can because you're getting that yellow out of it, but it just is less important in that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but how bad is that? So I even get one, and I didn't get one range.
So here comes the focused attacks from the troopers.
Yeah.
See, how great would it be if you could re-roll that green right now?
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
It's tough.
And there's no terminal in the top corner, right? It's just right where your stormtroopers
Yeah,
are.
I didn't think about put it. We always try and put down the 3D terrain because it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's right behind that box in kind of the top where that fork is in the road.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned about Fenn, I just wanted to come back to it. I actually think where some of my apprehension about some of the new figures comes in. Like specifically Kan Somos, who we're seeing in Wave 2, and then General Soren that we're seeing in Wave 5. Some really, really unique and powerful characters if you can use them right, but ultimately really hard because as soon as you get people who come around him and start pounding on him, just easy to kill them very quickly. So
Sure.
looks like he took out another elite stormtrooper in that group.
God, you wish they were heavy stormtroopers.
I
don't
do
you?
wish they were heavy stormtroopers. I'm so excited to try and play those guys.
Here's two.
I do think that some of those elite characters are going to be really good and are really good now. The ones that we have already. There goes another stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So that's that whole group.
So he finishes that. That's 9 points for him.
So 11 total
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things about those characters is, and I learned this the hard way in my first game of regionals, is to kind of slow your roll. Like basically just keep your guys back as much as you can. I think that's why that pass play is going to be a
Sure.
really huge boon for those lists that have those types of characters in it. You really need to let your opponent come to you so that you can best utilize the abilities that they have. Because especially against a list like this list with the troopers and the guards,
Yeah.
there's just so much on the board, and if you even attack with 3 troopers, that could kill that character in one go.
Yeah.
So you just kind of need to position yourself well, get the extra defense dice if there's that opportunity from other characters, and manage your positioning a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And it's hard, and especially in a game like this, you really want to kind of run in and kill guys, but you just have to sometimes make the tough choice of holding back a little bit.
Yeah, I rolled the dodge, which Jorgen is convinced dodge is basically an inevitability, which I am the opposite. I basically just assume that I'm never going to roll a dodge ever.
I think that's a better assumption for yourself.
Yeah.
Because, well, not because of you not rolling a dodge, but because it should be a pleasant surprise and not an expectation,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, obviously R2 is going to really change a lot of that with some of the meta, but
He doesn't give that lucky ability to other characters, though, right?
Yeah, he
it's
does.
just himself.
That was
He does.
Yeah. No,
Oh, my
now I feel
goodness.
like I have to check, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I hope you're right for
Yeah,
my sake.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. Let's see. Now I'm suddenly very nervous that I have no idea what I'm talking about.
But all I know, I'm being held captive in this Imperial propaganda wheel, and I just haven't been able to get out and read about it. So
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
know.
That's fair. I'm pretty.
It's really tough for me here in prison.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what R2's ability is if he's adjacent, he can. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I've got him in front of me now. Oh. Yeah, oh, it is just him. I'm sorry. I thought he gave it to other people.
Well, I'm glad I could bring us
Yeah.
the light, so to speak.
Yeah, bummer.
I know C-3PO has Tower, and like the officers, but he has a second ability that gives other. Oh, it gives other characters focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's what you were thinking
I
of.
don't know. I'm crazy.
It's fine.
I thought he.
I mean, I knew that.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy because I know what you meant. I think I got three or four.
So here we see Gideon rolling the best roll he can on defense, and still managing to just take it real hard
Yeah.
and unfortunately die. Unfortunately for me and Jorgen.
Yeah.
For you, it's a pretty good.
Yeah. So end of round, reactivating all our guys.
Unless you have something that lets me double. Like Diala lets you get rid of the cards I don't have. So both of my cards are good.
He's sitting on. He's basically got one guy left in one of his trooper groups, and then he's got 3 troopers in that other group that are fine. That are
Right.
totally.
And Gideon is not really on the board. He's about to be taken
Yeah,
off.
Gideon is dead.
Those 2 fires.
And here comes a laser, which you have so deftly avoided.
Right.
You want to steal this? I don't have to.
Again, see, this is what I was talking about before. I mean, you have at least 2 solid turns where you could be getting, points from that terminal on the bottom. You would not any longer. Like that terminal is basically going the way of the dodo.
No, because you might just start killing people. Shoot.
Well, I mean, if you were gonna win the game with the terminal, you could, or with 5 points, you could stay where you
Yeah,
are.
that's true. That's a good point. Sacrifice a model for it, but you're right. Yeah.
I mean, 5 points is nothing to laugh at.
No, it's definitely it's keeping me in the game right now. Well, it kept me in the game early. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine in this game.
You are doing fine.
It's not always an inevitability against Jorgen. Jorgen is a very good player. Obviously, he
For
came
sure.
in first in the Fresno regionals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did he make it to nationals, or did he?
He did not. He did
That's
not.
too bad.
Gen Con is hard to get to, so for some people.
I won't use this as my platform to talk
I
about
know.
my hatred of the tournament system.
Your hatred, it's not hatred.
It's dislike.
Frustration.
Dislike.
Frustration. Come on.
All right. I'm from another world of tournaments where invitationals give you more than what this does.
Yeah. We know.
That's all.
We know, Mr. MTG player. We got it.
No. I'm not even talking about that.
I don't know. Versus system. I don't know what you're into. Anyways,
That was a thing.
Imperial Assault.
I've done a lot. Well, I mean, we'll stick with poker and
that's true.
X-Wing
Okay.
and Imperial Assault. We'll do that.
So he's moving out his rebel trooper. I have no idea why.
I think this is weird, but I think he's just trying to let you attack that one so that he can fire with the other 3.
Well, I sort of feel like, and again, we I apologize for everybody at home. We don't have the scores in front of us, but I believe this will sink me the win if I get this, but I could be wrong. So played an inspiring speech, giving two of my guys focus.
My guys.
Those focus tokens look great too.
Yeah, they are. They're really fun on the table. So he must have passed, because I definitely did 2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was.
Yeah.
So, again, I think...
So Jorgen himself just said I was too aggressive, just
Yeah.
like we were saying.
And again, I think, so that the video just stopped on our end. But I think, you know, again, I would really say that door is going to be really huge. I know that seems like a small thing, but I think that door is going to be really huge, especially in this scenario. I think I've played the other one, but I haven't looked at it recently. So, but this one is going to be really huge because that laser beam's coming down the pipe. So, yeah, I think that door is really huge, and I think choosing kind of where you're going to attack is going to be really huge in this map. Did you have any other specific thoughts as far as this map is concerned?
Well, I just think that this is a really interesting map in that the player behind the door has the ability to kind of decide where the action is going to take place on the board.
Yeah.
In some way. I mean, obviously, you could have opened the door
Right.
had Jorgen not done so, but using an action to do that, you know, takes away some of the movement of your guys.
Right.
So I think that at least when I play this in the future, I'm on that side of the door, I think I'm gonna, for the most part, try to travel up and take the top terminal and kind of just let that bottom one sit for my opponent, and then eventually die to the laser beam. Because realistically, they can only get, I think, 10 points off of it before it's being destroyed.
Right.
Along with any character there. So I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but I feel good about it.
Cool. So again, this has been Imperial Propaganda. Thank you guys so much if you've made it this far. For myself and the rest of the crew, I have been Glenn.
And I have been Max.
And we will see you guys next time. Please keep tuning in, and we will keep doing this stuff. Awesome. Thanks, guys.